Hi guys, welcome to another video with me, Clarice. In this video, we are going to be going over these two brushes right here. There's been a lot of controversy and questions about, maybe not so much controversy, just questions about, is the Princeton Velvetouch Petals the same as the Dagger? And so no, it isn't, the short form. And these are the two brushes in question, and we're going to just go over what these two brushes look like as strokes on a regular sheet of watercolor paper. So let's get started. Mentioned, I am using my Princeton brushes. So the Dagger right here is a Princeton Neptune, and it's 1/4 inch. And this is what it looks like before I put that down. It's flat. It's got like a tapered slanted cut to the bristles, and it's kind of very soft. That's what the Neptune line is like. Now this is the Petals brush. If you're really looking at it closely, it is triangular. So this portion right here has got 3 flat edges, and then that's how the brushes or the bristles are placed. It does have a slant cut similar to the Dagger, but once again, it is all bunched up as a triangle. And we've got one area that's super pointed, giving you that nice fine pointed tip. The bristles are soft, however, not quite like the Dagger, because the Velvetouch is a little bit more, I don't know if rigid is the right word, but I do know the Velvetouch brushes, you can use them for watercolor and also for acrylic. Meanwhile, the Neptune brushes are strictly for watercolor. Okay, so in a nutshell, on observing, these are the two differences between the Dagger and the Petals Princeton brushes. Now we're going to put them to the test. I've got some leftover paint over here. I've got water handy, paper towel handy, and we're just going to do simple strokes, and we're going to explore and see how different these brushes look like when we paint with them. So the first brush I'm going to use is the Princeton Velvetouch Petals, and let's just make this one the red color that I'm activating right here. And I'll make this dark enough so you can see clearly. So good enough mixture of water and color. And here we go. So my first instinct when I hold the brush, at least, is to paint with the tallest portion of it facing up. So the triangle area is upward. And this is the first stroke that I would do if I didn't know the brush at all. So using the tip, pressing down, trailing off, and you get that. I need more water on it. So this brush, because there's a lot of pressing down, trailing off, this brush needs to be, like, you need to ensure that it's got enough water on this. So here we go. That's what that looks like. Let's do another stroke, and notice me getting more water in here. So this time I'm holding it backward where the tallest or the longest portion of my bristle is down. So I've got a flat area at the top here. So pressing down, trailing off, gives you a slightly more thicker stroke. Let's do another one. Okay. Now let's do a little bit of a wiggle with this brush. So I'm back to where the tallest is at the top of my brush. And if I wiggle and trail off, this is what I get. Let's do it again. And I'm going to do a couple more strokes, like just holding it sideways now, where we're kind of having the tallest portion on the left hand side of my, I guess, on the left. Kind of hard to explain here. And then I'm just sort of trailing off. Do a little swirl, like an S maybe. Let's do another one. Now I'm going to flip it on the other side where the tallest portion is to my right. So you can get some really cute little interesting results with this. Yeah, so that's that for this brush. And if you're a beginner with this brush and this is brand new to you, I've got tons of videos already where we can explore using this brush in a very basic manner, and some of y'all may have already seen it. We've done these little beautiful flowers right here. I did a live in March and this is what it looks like. We use the brush predominantly for the flowers and also the stalks of grass or leaves or whatever you want to call it. So this is what that looks like with the petals. So now let's try the Dagger. I don't really have any video tutorials for the Dagger on here. I never really ended up using it as much. I should. I somehow gravitated to the Petals brush, even though I had the Dagger for longer than I did the Petals. So here we go. I'm activating some orange paint. And let me just make sure it's nice and mixed up. We've got good enough color. And we're going to do the same exercise with the Dagger over here, so you have a visual for the petals and the Dagger below. I'm thinking because this looks very long and big, I might not have enough room to do 2 rows, but let's see. So here we go. I'm going to use the tallest portion at the top, so then the flat, it's flat like this, so I'm holding it this way so it's more of a point. And let's get our first stroke in. There we go. That's one. Let's do a wiggle. That's what that looks like. Now let's turn the tallest portion down. And do a basic. So this, what I did was the basic. Using the tip, you press down and glide, or press down and drag all the way back to your tip. So let's do one more of that. So using the tip, pressing down, and then trailing off back on the tip. And this is what I get. Let's do one with a squiggle, but with the tallest portion down. So you can get some interesting feels for this as well, or shapes using this brush as well. Oops. So for this second row, obviously I'll have to control how long I drag the brush for. But right off the bat from this first row, I can tell you this is giving me more coverage because it's a looser brush, more for watercolor. This is a slightly tighter, everything is held tightly together, and it's not as long as this one. So it's right away tighter, looser. However, having said that, it really depends on how loose your strokes are and like how you typically paint. Do you hold things tight and paint closely, or do you hold them more at the top and you're kind of just going with the flow? So there is that factor to keep in mind as well. All right, let's do a couple more strokes using this and see what else we can get with it. So if I do, just getting more color. Let's just see if we do side stroke, like flat strokes, or holding it flat this way. What do we get? We get something like that. Okay, fair enough. That's just like the shape of the brush. I'm turning it over on the other side. I'm assuming you just get it on the other side. Oh, but this is a nice little stroke. So you kind of Looks like a very smooth shape. No awkwardness in there. Let's just do one straight line if we just held it straight this way, so we could use it for stems. If we're thinking about flowers, that is. And then what if we just did a zigzag off that? That's what that looks like. And just drop in more color. Yeah, and that's that. So yeah. Okay, so this is the strokes. These are the strokes we're getting with both. Let's try and see what, like if we attempted to do a flower with each of them, what does that look like? I've already shown you examples of what I've done with my petals, but this has been a good enough exercise for me to figure out what I want to do for a flower with my dagger. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so I've got a fresh sheet of paper here. Let's start off with doing the petals, just because we did the petals first here. And I'm going to use the same red that I had. And here we go. So I prefer using where the tallest portion of my bristle is at the top. And we've got that pointed edge right here. And it's just my go-to if I were to just paint in my sleep, I guess you could say. Pressing down, trailing off, getting water, going sideways. I like to do a little bit of a squiggle so that my petals don't look very stoic and hard-edged, or straight-edged rather. And I like to get different shapes like so. Alternating with, you know, different variations of the color, or sorry, variations in hue. So that's why getting water gives you like a lighter version of the color, which is kind of nice for your flower. Look at these beautiful shapes, very tropical. You could, I guess you could, if you strategically plan it out, you could do a dahlia even with this. And so what I did there was, instead of just using the one stroke, I used two strokes, just like I am over here, to kind of create another petal, right? Because you can do that. So my style of painting is very loose, and this is why this is a very loose rendition of a flower that I have done here. Okay, so simple enough, easy enough. It takes a little bit of practice just to sort of move your sheet around if you don't really like how, or if you like your hand can't reach it to get something similar to your other strokes, move your sheet around and that should work just as fine. Okay, so this is your petals. Let's go in for the dagger and create a similar sort of flower. See what that looks like. So here we go, mixing the color nicely. I'm gonna position myself sideways this way here, and I'm starting with the longest portion at the bottom. Doing the same technique, or same, like getting water on my brush before I do the next petal. Again, another great brush for long petaled flowers, I guess you could say. Maybe it's the orange, but it's totally giving Easter lily vibes. Maybe it is the orange, but they've got similar sort of brush strokes, or petal shapes rather, not brush strokes. And yeah, I think it would work really nicely. There we go. Yeah, so I just did a very, very loose rendition of a flower, if I were to paint a flower using this brush. And this is what that looks like. So there we go. So now you have results for both, and you can see how we get a nice fine pointed tip with the petals. Don't quite get a fine pointed tip with the dagger. The dagger does cover a lot of surface. The petals covers a slightly smaller surface, just because it's probably also to do with the sizing as well. Actually, here's another note. So just to sort of address the sizing part, I have a petals here. This is a size 10. This one is a size 6. Let's just quickly do one with the size 10. I think that would give a better reference, because I cannot comment on the fact that these two brushes that I'm using there are the same size. So if anyone is wondering, here's a size 10, which is 2 sizes bigger, obviously, from the 6. And here we go. We're gonna do a similar flower. Let's just see what that looks like. So I'm like using all different angles of my brush at this point. And you should too. When you're experimenting, you should absolutely be using your brush in different angles and such, just to see what you can achieve, what you can get. It increases your comfort level of using the brush. Also allows you to get a little bit more acquainted with watercolor, because the more you practice, the better you do, and or the better you learn. And yeah, it's just all around that much better. So don't shy away from using this brush if you have it. I think it's very, there's a lot you can do with it. I wanted to do one more thing, why I personally love it. And this is not to overshadow the dagger because I've not used it as much, but I can do stems with just the tip of it and get some really thin, gorgeous looking detail. So if you're someone who likes to kind of use one brush for everything, like here's a leaf, right? Then this is definitely something worth considering if you are looking for different, fun, and just to do simplistic versions of flowers and leaves like this. Getting practice, card making, any other projects that you're doing. Okay, that's my 2 cents at least. So this kind of dried up like a big blotch over here, and I didn't want to have the petals take so much room because I showed you the leaves and stuff. So here's a dagger leaf, and I'm just going to have to overlap it over on this. But here you go, using the tip. And with great brush control, I'm extending, pressing down, trailing off. And there you have a leaf. So the leaves look similar-ish if you're doing it loosely. Okay, so this is what the end results are. And here are my comments. I feel like the brushes are similar, but they're not the same at all. You can get, for the basic strokes, you can get them looking sort of similar-ish, but one is clearly way more pointed. So if you're looking for more pointed, finer details, it's the Petals brush. If you're looking for looser, you're not so much into the whole pointed, even though you can sort of achieve it, then I guess it would be the Dagger. Can you use the Dagger to do any of the video tutorials that I have done using my petals? Absolutely. It looks like you can maybe get the results that are similar. And I would love to, I guess, see your work. If you do end up using your Dagger, say you have one, and you want to check out any of these tutorials that I've done with the flowers and the leaves and the pine trees. So make sure you tag me on Facebook or Instagram. I just want to see what it looks like. I would love to hear your input as well. So make sure or feel free to comment in the description below. And if you're looking for these brushes, guys, because you don't have any of them, I've listed them in the description of this video. So check it out. And yeah, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I can't wait to do a little bit more with these brushes over the upcoming weeks. So make sure you subscribe, and you can get some more inspirational watercolor fun. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll chat soon. Bye.